Will AI replace developers? It's a question that I get asked all the time by coding bootcamp students, by fresh graduates, by just people asking in my DMs, even by experienced engineers. And I get it. Every week, there's a flashy headline about AI writing code or some CEO claiming that AI will make junior developers obsolete. And in fact, one AI founder recently predicted that AI will write 90% of software code within the next year, eliminating many entry-level programming jobs. Scary, right? But then you have the CEO of IBM saying, hold on, AI will handle maybe 20 to 30% of coding tasks and assist developers, not replace them. So which one is it? Hey, my name is Deric and I am the founder of Sigma School, which is Malaysia's #1 coding bootcamp. We work with companies and people and students from all over the world fly into Malaysia for our bootcamp. I'm also a tech entrepreneur who has been building startups since 2020. And in the last few years, my team and I have helped hundreds of people learn the code and get into tech jobs. We even offer a bold guarantee, right? Which is to get a tech job after you graduate the bootcamp, or we're going to give you your money back. And that's how confident we are in continued demand for developers today. And our work has been featured in press for shaking up education, and we've built partnerships with so many different companies to hire our graduates. But I'm not here to brag about what I've achieved. I'm just here to share what I've learned from the trenches, what I've learned from talking to CTOs and working with hiring partners and talking to hundreds of developers every month. I went from an unhappy finance graduate to a self-taught programmer to launching a coding school and an AI-driven startup. And I've seen this whole AI versus developer panic from multiple angles as a learner, as a developer, as a business owner who hires developers. And I want to talk to you about how you can future-proof your career so you can thrive in tech instead of worrying about being replaced. Think about the fundamentals always. So first, let's address the elephant in the room, which is that AI, it's no longer a passing fad. It's 2025 and AI has exploded into every industry. Billions of dollars are being poured right now into AI startups. And in fact, AI startups have raised a record $110 billion in 2024, up 62% from the year before. Investors are saying that it's the biggest wave ever by absolute amounts invested. And it's not just money. Businesses are all in on AI. A recent Stanford report found that 78% of organizations used AI in at least one business function in 2024, up from just 55% in 2023. That is a massive jump in adoption within 1 year. Nearly every company I know today, from tiny startups to big banks, they are all experimenting with AI tools and AI tech stacks to automate tasks, to analyze data, or to improve products. So yes, AI is everywhere and it's getting more powerful day by day. We have chatbots that can write essays, code assistants that can generate lines and lines of code and generate functions on the fly for you, image generators and whatnot, you name it, they could do it. And this is our new reality. And as an entrepreneur, I've embraced it. And we're now implementing AI tools like AI coding buddy systems in our coding bootcamp to assist and to maximize the learning experience of all of our students, right? AI is absolutely changing the game in tech today in my business and with my team. Now, does that actually mean that developers are doomed, right? I'll be honest, if you refuse to adapt, if you stick your head in the sand and ignore AI, then yeah, you're basically going to get left behind and you're in trouble, basically, right? But if you're willing to learn and leverage these tools, I genuinely believe that you will become way more valuable than ever. As Navarro Ravikant, who is one of my biggest role models, might put it, technology is a form of leverage, and AI is just the newest lever. It can multiply what a developer can do. It's like giving you a power tool. You can build faster and bigger, but you still need to know how to build in the first place. And let's break this down with some first principles thinking right now. What does a software developer really do? At the core, developers solve problems. We talk to stakeholders, we figure out what needs to be built, we design a solution, we write code to implement it, and iterate until it works. That involves a lot of human creativity and communication and logical reasoning and collaboration. So one part of that process is writing code, the keystrokes, the syntax, the boilerplate logic, right? And that part AI is pretty damn good at, right? But the rest, understanding the real world problems, making judgment calls on product features, architecting a system, debugging quirky issues, aligning the solutions to user needs, AI can't replace these things. These are the human aspects, at least not yet today. So let me share with you a quick insight that a fellow developer shared with me, right? What he says is AI is like autocorrect for code. It's super helpful, but not a substitute for knowing how to code. In other words, AI can boost your productivity, but it cannot yet replace your problem solving. There are plenty of things that AI still kind of sucks at today, right? Talking to a client to clarify what they actually want, coming up with a completely new app idea from scratch, writing maintainable code in production without guidance, or making ethical decisions about user data, right? Trust me, I've asked ChatGPT to build simple apps for fun. It can crank out code really quick, but often that code needs an engineer's eye to refine and to fix and perfect. So let me address some of the fear head on, right? Will AI eliminate programming jobs? And my take, and I say this as someone has literally promised students to get a job or their tuition back if they can't get a job. And my answer, my take here is no, but it will change what programming jobs look like. Okay, the reality here is companies still desperately today need people to build, innovate, and solve complex problems with software. And AI doesn't change that. If anything, it increases the demand for creative engineers who can apply AI effectively, right? Just because one company is now adopting AI and moving so much faster doesn't mean you're gonna stop, right? Everybody has access to the same AI. So it's table stakes today to play in this game. You gotta understand that whenever everybody has access to something, that just means it's no longer a moat. And here's a line that I shared in a recent interview. Many people now mistakenly believe that AI can write all the code, eliminating for the need for human engineers. And this is a misconception. Yes, AI can generate the code snippets and speed up certain tasks, but the truth is the gap between engineers who leverage AI and those who do not has never been wider. The developer who knows how to use AI tools will drastically outperform the ones who refuses to learn them. And companies see that. They want the developers who can bridge the gap between what AI produces and what the product actually needs. And what do I mean by bridging the gap here? I mean developers who use AI to automate the grunt work like generating boilerplate code or writing basic functions, and then step into the higher level thinking like designing the overall architecture, making sure the code is efficient and secure, tuning the AI's output to fit the project's requirements and so on. The most valuable software engineers in the coming years will be these hybrid thinkers who collaborate with AI. They're the ones focusing on things AI cannot do well, like talking to users, making creative decisions, and ensuring quality is there, right? Think about it this way. If both you and I have access to the same AI coding assistant, but you understand computer science fundamentals and good software design and I don't, who will build the better product? You will, because you can direct the AI, catch its mistakes, and improve on its suggestions. In fact, who trains and fixes the AI? It's developers today, right? AI is still a tool. It's not a boss. The code it generates still needs oversight. I like to say AI won't replace developers, but developers who don't use AI will be replaced by those who do. Right? This has never been more true. The junior developers who stubbornly codes everything by hand might get outpaced by the one who uses Copilot to speed things up. But the solution isn't to give up coding, it's to become a Copilot powered super productive developer, assuming you already are a developer today. So when people ask me whether to become a generalist or a specialist in today's new era today, I often answer, be a generalist in your fundamentals and a specialist in delivering value. Here's what that means, right? The fundamentals of software, so things like problem solving, writing clean code, understanding data structures and algorithms, knowing how the web works, how databases and network functions, those are timeless. The knowledge that you have here is like your core muscle. It lets you pick up any new tool, AI or otherwise, so much faster, right? Charlie Munger, which is Warren Buffett's right-hand man, he always preaches the importance of mental models and first principles. In coding, your fundamentals are your mental models, and they let you adapt to whatever the future throws at you. At Sigma School, which is the business that I run, we drill the fundamentals super heavily. Nothing matters more than the fundamentals. I'm a huge believer that a strong foundation lets you learn any new tech in a fraction of the time. For example, I taught myself coding as an outsider. It took me 8 months of slogging through hundreds of tutorials and projects and often 12 hours a day. And I wanted to just give up so many times. So mastering those basics changed my life. I went from being an ex-accountant to getting freelance coding gigs that paid up to like 100,000 ringgit per project. This was like 5 years ago when I first started, right? So more importantly, it gave me the confidence that I could learn whatever the hell new library or framework that came along. And that's how a few years later, I picked up Vue.js, React, Express, Supabase, whatever the project needed, even though I never really worked as a formal software engineer. Those core skills even helped me work effectively with a CTO partner and hired developers later on because I understood what they were doing. I can't emphasize this enough. Do not skip the fundamentals. They future-proof you against any technical disruption, AI included. Now, on top of your fundamentals, you should aim to specialize in at least one area that's in high demand, something I like to call a future-proof skill. Given all that we've discussed today, it shouldn't surprise you that many of these future-proof skills involve working alongside AI. But notice I said alongside, not as an AI researcher in a lab, you don't necessarily need PhD in machine learning to thrive, unless that's your passion, right? To thrive in this career. What you need is domain expertise in implementing AI or automation in real products. So let me highlight 2 big areas or roles that I believe are exciting, in demand, and well suited for most developers. So let's talk about the cloud path. This is for folks who enjoy the backend systems, the big picture tech stack side of things. Every fancy AI model ultimately runs on servers somewhere. There's an entire infrastructure layer behind AI. Cloud platforms today that powers most of the internet, like AWS, Azure, and GCP, GPUs, and specialized hardware, data pipelines, containerized microservices, databases, all that glues to you needs to be designed, built, and maintained by engineers. If you're already comfortable with cloud engineering or site reliability engineering, then you're in luck, because your skills are more relevant today than ever. Companies are scrambling to integrate AI into their products, and guess what? They need cloud experts to help them do it. Think about a bank that wants to deploy an AI to detect fraud, or a hospital that wants AI to analyze patient data. They're not gonna build a data center from scratch. They will be most likely using cloud services. They need someone who knows how to spin up secure environments, handle big data, ensure uptime, and deploy AI services at scale in production. There may be many AWS certified people out there, but how many of them has actually taken their cloud skills and learned to build on top of AI? If you can be that person, the one who knows AWS or Azure or GCP and knows how to use their AI offerings, you will be in a very sweet spot for the demand that there is today. In fact, there's a whole emerging role, sometimes called an AI engineer, which often is just a software engineer who knows how to work with AI, APIs, and infrastructure. So one of my tech heroes, Chip Huyen, breaks down the AI stack into 3 layers: infrastructure, model development, and application development. Most of us developers won't be doing the hardcore model development. That's PhD territory, trust me, but we can excel in the other 2 layers. And infrastructure is the foundation here. So what concrete steps can you take? If you have a background in, say, DevOps or backend engineering, start exploring your cloud provider's AI services. If you're in Azure ecosystem, consider pursuing something like the Azure AI Engineer Associate certification. It's designed to help teach you how to implement AI systems, AI solutions using Azure's tools. Things like computer vision, NLP, natural language processing, knowledge mining, and even generative AI with Azure's Open AI service. These are exactly the skills a company need when they say, we want to build and add AI features to our systems, but we have no idea where to start. Right? You could be the expert that guides them. I've seen consultants charge top dollars to advise businesses on adopting AI in the cloud. Even if you don't go for a formal certification, just get hands-on with these services. Deploy a TensorFlow model on AWS SageMaker, or use Azure's cognitive services in a side project. Familiarize yourself with the concept of vector databases like Pinecone, which are used for semantic search in AI apps, or tools like NVIDIA Triton for serving ML models in production. These might sound fancy, but they're essentially new tools to add to your toolbox of skills as an DevOps engineer, and the core of your job, which is keeping systems running and scalable. It's not going to go away. It's going to expand from here, right? Companies will need you to ensure that the AI features are reliable, fast, and secure. So remember, infrastructure is behind everything, AI included, right? So this path is a strong choice if you do enjoy that kind of work. It's not oversaturated, but true AI-ready cloud experts are rare, and it's evolving quickly, which means opportunity. As a bonus, these roles often pay really, really well, and they're less likely to be cut even if some coding gets automated, because you're literally keeping the lights on for the AI. And the next path, which is the software path, right? And this second area is much closer to my heart, because it's all about building applications, the products and features that users interact with. And this is for you if you enjoy coding, you like building cool apps and seeing users benefit from your work. And let me tell you, application development is not going anywhere. Even the most advanced AI needs a user interface, needs integration into a product, needs someone to decide what the AI should do for the user. And yes, AI can write and generate code. We know that today. GitHub Copilot can autocomplete functions. ChatGPT can spit out sample code for a feature. These are amazing tools that we as developers can use, but they do not eliminate the need for applications. They just change how we build them. I run a coding bootcamp and an AI startup, and if anything, we're building more software today than ever, not less. Every new AI startup that you hear of is essentially an application built around an AI model. Someone has to build that app, the front end, the back end, the glue code that calls the AI model, that handles the responses, the cloud infrastructure. Consider the explosion of AI-powered products in the last year. Just think about it, right? AI writing assistants, AI customer service chatbots, AI design tools, etc. Behind each of these is a team of software engineers engineers. The difference from 5 years ago is those engineers now need to know how to call an AI API like OpenAI or incorporate a machine learning library. If you were a web developer in 2015, you need to know how to call a normal REST API. In 2025, you might need to know how to call an LLM, large language model API, and perhaps fine-tune the prompts or handle the AI's output. It's an added layer to the stack. It's not a replacement. You still need to fundamentally know how to call a REST API. So how do you become a future application developer? Step 1, double down on being a good developer first, period, full stop. Nothing has changed about the need for the clean code, beautiful code, good architecture, and effective debugging. In fact, those skills become even more important when AI is involved today because you'll often be stitching together AI outputs with traditional code. So keep sharpening your core languages like JavaScript, Python, whatever you use, and your software design abilities. Step 2, get familiar with popular AI or machine learning frameworks and services that you can plug into your apps. If you haven't already, play around with the OpenAI API or alternatives like Anthropic's API. Try building a simple app that calls ChatGPT under the hood. For example, a to-do list app where you can ask a bot for productivity tips, or a small React website that generates funny captions for your photos using an image AI. The goal here is to learn how to integrate AI into the user experience. And one tool that I highly recommend exploring is LangChain, especially if you're using Python or JavaScript. LangChain is like a developer framework for chaining together AI models and data sources, right? It's super helpful for building things like chatbot agents that can do tasks. If you don't know what it is yet, that's your cue to start Googling it and start researching there. I also really recommend prompt engineering because essentially how to craft inputs to get useful outputs from AI. Think of it as a new skill on top of your coding. The best AI-powered apps rely on developers to understand how to tweak AI behavior by giving it good instructions and context. And for instance, if you're building a customer support bot, how you prompt the AI with the user's query plus your knowledge base will determine whether the answer is correct and helpful or not. That's not trivial because it's part of its art, part of its science, and good prompt engineers are in high demand today. But again, this isn't a whole new career. It's an extension of being a good developer. So remember step 1 first. To be actually a good developer, you'll still be debugging, except now you're debugging AI responses in addition to code. Step 3, which is to build projects that showcase that you can do this. And this is huge for staying relevant. If you're a new developer or switching careers, imagine going into an interview and not just saying something like, here's the core apps that I built, right? Everyone has seen that, right? But if you show them something like, here's the web app that I built that integrates GPT-4 chatbot to answer finance questions for the users, or I built a Chrome extension that uses an AI API to summarize articles. That sort of portfolio screams 2025 skills. It's modern, it's new. It tells employers that you didn't freeze in the headlights of AI. You jumped in and you learned to ride the wave. In our bootcamp, we recently tweaked our curriculum to include building AI mini projects and even using AI agents in our coursework because we know how important it is today. And as the founder, I personally push for this because I believe this is the perfect time to enter tech. Companies still need builders, just builders who can wield new tools. One more thing, do not underestimate domain knowledge and soft skills. This might not sound as shiny as AI, but in the age of AI, having a combination of technical and human skills makes you very, very hard to replace. For example, if you understand the healthcare industry and you're a software engineer, you're going to do a much better job building an AI health app than some random person who just knows Python. Your context and insight becomes your edge today. Similarly, skills like teamwork, communication, and creativity, things like that, they are priceless today, right? AI can't brainstorm with a client or lead a team meeting, but you can. And one of my personal role models, Jason Fried, who is the founder of 37 Signals and Basecamp, he always emphasizes staying calm and focusing on real human needs when building products. That mindset still holds true day and day today. If anything, in a world where AI can generate 100 ideas in 5 minutes, the value shifts to those who can discern which idea actually solves real problem for real people. So keep holding those soft skills, right? Because they're actually pretty hard to come by today. So let me share a bit of my story to wrap this all up because I think it might illustrate why I believe so strongly in adapting and thriving alongside new technologies. Back in 2019, I was an accounting and finance graduate working pretty much a standard analyst job, right? It was stable, but I felt a bit empty inside. I wanted to be the one building something. I wanted to build something. I wanted to make an impact. I decided to learn coding, right? Thinking that it was the skill of the future, right? Spoiler, it was. But it was hard. I had no computer science background. I struggled alone through online courses, online resources. I nearly quit multiple times and applied for jobs. Eventually, I broke through because after 8 months, I got good enough that a friend of mine hired me to do some coding work at around like 300 ringgit per hour, which is crazy, which in Malaysia, it was crazy. And that was my first kind of aha moment that the skills became very valuable. Fast forward in 2020, I co-founded Sigma School to help others learn to code. And in 2022, we officially launched our bootcamp. The first 2 years, I was experimenting. I was doing freelance projects, even hiring other developers to help build software projects I secured because I realized I could create more value by orchestrating projects instead of hand coding every line myself, right? So by 2022 to 2023, we hit a good stride. The bootcamp was producing successful graduates, revenue was coming in. By 2024, we had a profitable model, we had a crazy good team who knew what they were hired for. They were coming in with good ideas they were on mission, they were growing with me. We ran things lean, and at one point we achieved around 80% profit margins, which is almost unheard of in most businesses today. I had essentially built a healthy, sustainable tech education business, and we had systems and processes. We follow the entrepreneurial operating system, the EOS system, as I call it, Google it, to manage the company. And we have an awesome small team that could really handle day-to-day operations. At that point, I had a bit of crossroads. I could have relaxed. 2024 was a year I could have coasted by. The business didn't need me in the trenches 24/7. I had managers running a lot of it, and financially it was pretty comfortable. I even took some time to enjoy life. I picked up boxing. I kept up a routine of running and hitting the gym. I traveled a little bit. Those who know me know that I'm pretty obsessed with fitness and even longevity science. I literally want to live forever if I could. That's a topic for another day. So yeah, I enjoyed the freedom briefly, but something in me just wasn't satisfied with coasting. I'm only 27 years old now, and I thought, what kind of impact could I have if I really double down now and push it to the fullest? And I looked at the world, and especially the crazy advancements in AI around me, and I realized that there's so much more to do. So instead of chilling, I have decided to go big on this again. That's why I'm doing this videos. That's why I'm working so hard. That's why I'm investing so much more money into the business. I set an audacious goal. I want to scale my ventures to 100 million ringgit a year. That's around, not too crazy in USD terms, that's 25 million US dollars per year. Why not? Because not for the sake of money, but because that would mean that we've impacted tens of thousands of lives through tech education and services. And to get there, I'm reinvesting in growth. I'm improving our product. I'm incorporating AI deep into our platform. We're hiring senior talents who are smarter than me today, ramping up our marketing to reach new regions. I even have a few side ventures like our HR tech startup, Jobier, and an AI project, North Stack, that I'm building. But I'm making sure that the core business, Sigma School, has all my focus and a strong leadership team who's able to handle ambitious scaling. It's risky, sure. I'm basically taking the comfortable machine that I built and saying, let's crank it up. Right? That means spending more, taking more risks, trying new strategies, and embracing a lot more uncertainty. Why am I telling you about all this? Right? That's because I want you to see that tech and in life, right? Standing still is not an option. If you want to achieve great things, the world is changing fast. This is the best time now to make changes in social mobility, to move up that ladder, because there's a fundamental shift in the world today with AI. So especially with AI's rise, you have to keep moving forward. I could have stayed complacent as a successful enough coding school owner, but I chose to push myself further. Similarly, you could be a complacent developer who says, I'm good with what I know. I don't want to learn new things, but screw all this AI stuff. But I promise you in a couple of years, the attitude will not fly, right? The good news is pushing yourself can be incredibly rewarding. I never regret learning something new. Never ever, right? Even if it was hard. For instance, I never became a full-time software engineer at a big company, but learning how to code opened every door that I would ever need, and better doors, right? That I've walked through ever since. No learning is ever wasted. And I hear something really relevant in that Vulcan Post article that featured our work and my business and me. I said, even as AI transforms industries, one thing remains clear, which is that this is the perfect time to enter tech. Companies will always need builders. I meant that. Whether you're a beginner wondering if it's still worth learning to code, or a seasoned coder worrying about how you can stay relevant, this field needs you. It needs people who are passionate, curious, adaptable, that the tools that we use will keep evolving. AI today, maybe brain-computer interfaces tomorrow, who knows, right? But your mindset is the real secret here. Stay curious, keep building projects, leverage new tools as they come, focus on the problems and the needs around you. They are endless. We're all humans, we all complain about stuff, and technology is just a means to solve them. Right? So I know this has been a long talk, but I really wanted to be comprehensive and honest about how I feel. The future is bright for developers who adapt. I've bet my entire business on the premise that we can train people for fulfilling tech careers, and that bet is paying off. Every single Sigma School graduate who put in the work has landed a tech job, some even before they graduated, right? And now we're updating our curriculum to include AI because we know it's critical. We're not running from the future, we're running towards it, right? My challenge to you here is to do the same with your own career in an AI-driven world. Be the developer who adds that personal touch, that personality, that creativity and critical thinking on top of AI's capabilities. Be the one who answers the call when a company asks, we want to add this AI feature, can anyone help me make it happen? Be that guy to say, yes, let me do it, right? If you do that, you won't just survive the changes that are coming, you're going to thrive in it, and it's going to transform your life. Remember, the world always needs builders. Everything you see around you today is built by someone at some point in time. AI or not, there are problems to solve and people to help with technology. So future-proofing your career really comes down to this. Keep building, keep learning, and stay human. Do that and you will be just fine. In fact, you will be in demand. Thanks for listening. I hope you find this helpful. Go ahead and take action if you do. Even if it's a small step, like trying out an AI code generator or signing up for a cloud AI course, your future self will thank you for this. Now go out there and build something amazing, and I'll see you in the next one.